ecologica, altro che settembre, come diceva ieri, come dicono i nostri amici del footprint, noi arriveremo a luglio, cioè arriveremo a giugno, ma semplicemente perché abbiamo avuto dei comportamenti riproduttivi e di sviluppo del passato che adesso arrivano, cioè è impossibile tornare indietro per alcuni anni o decenni. Allora, come mai anche sia ieri che oggi si parla poco di questo? Noi abbiamo un'inerzia, i comportamenti demografici hanno un'inerzia che non è arrestabile, diciamo, e di conseguenza, mentre noi anche nelle cose che diciamo, immaginiamo che i nostri modelli siano adottabili per tutti, invece purtroppo i sistemi deboli, le parti della specie umana debole stanno morendo o stanno perendo. È chiaro che ci sono tutta una serie di cose da fare, però ormai io questi discorsi li sento fare da molto tempo. Io ho fatto un'esperienza drammatica, per esempio la Somalia, no? Negli anni 70 io sono andato in Somalia come molti altri con l'idea che i paesi africani tipo la Somalia avessero un futuro di sviluppo e di progresso. E sono passati 10 anni, dagli inizi degli anni 80 alla fine degli anni 80, in cui la Somalia è saltata, come è saltato l'Uganda, come corre il rischio di saltare il Kenya. Io vi dico, il rischio di saltare del nostro meridione. Noi siamo in una situazione a rischio terribile. Anche le cose che stanno succedendo in questi giorni sono sistemi che non funzionano più, nemmeno quando hanno le maggioranze del 70%. Siamo di fronte a delle crisi dei sistemi deboli dovute a varie ragioni, che però hanno a che fare con il modelli di sviluppo. Allora la domanda è: ma perché non consideriamo questo fatto? Cioè non abbiamo la pretesa di imporre al pianeta qualsiasi scelta di sviluppo, che è prima di tutto una scelta di tipo riproduttivo. Chiudo dicendo, non a caso, l'unico paese al mondo che ha fatto una scelta di controllo, diciamo, della demografia è il paese che sarà leader, diciamo, del mondo.
Grazie. Io, se non avete altre domande, chiuderei qui, darei quindi parola a loro per questo secondo giro, che facciamo magari un pochino più veloce, stringente, ma insomma credo che gli stimoli, gli interventi, le osservazioni siano state molte, quindi credo che ce ne abbiamo di che parlare. Abbiamo l'1:05, abbiamo una ventina di minuti per chiudere anche rispetto agli altri programmi, e iniziamo di nuovo con Colin Hines.
Well, the first thing I'd like to say to the lady in front is that you are the future. You are the future. Perhaps I should say your attitudes are the future. But I think all change is a mixture of green heroines and green heroes who try and change people's attitudes. And you have small successes and some irritations. But that's that's, if you like, the bottom up. But it's also the big changes that have to happen. And in the UK, with the decline, it's been very interesting, the number of people who've said that really we went too far. We've really got to change. People know that in their heart. But if you're told, hey, you can have everything, people want everything. But now they can't have everything. They know they can't have everything and are beginning to change attitudes. So the important thing is what happens at the top that links with sort of your kind of approach from the bottom up. And I'm just listening to all of the stuff today. I think one really crucial point was sort of pointed out by Wolfgang, is we really have to think about what our future economic activity is going to be. What jobs are we going to create? What business opportunities are we going to create? And if, for example, I'm sure there are people here who know this, examples in the stalls, etc. But if you decided that you would, as a group of activists, work out how many jobs could be created in Rome if you turned every single building into energy efficiency with renewables. It's very important though, don't just concentrate on renewables. The big savings in carbon are making buildings, existing buildings, energy efficient. Renewables is a nice top up, but it's actually energy efficiency which is crucial. That's where the jobs are. So for example, if you were able to estimate how many people would be employed, what business opportunities, what the grants would be required, etc., to turn Rome into an energy efficient future, that would get people thinking, there is jobs here, there is business here, there is future here. Because as I said, what you're doing in Italy at the moment is not going to work. We're doing the same thing in Britain. We perhaps talk a little more about a Green New Deal, but our business people our politicians and business people want the same thing. So it's very important that while they are failing, we are organising. We are showing what is possible, because eventually they will have to turn to us, because there isn't anything else. There isn't any other way forward. And part of the economic activity, although you can start with energy efficiency where we live, but to get back to the last question, it's also very important that we see future growth, degrowth, whatever you want to call it, as economic activity that generates jobs, generates business opportunities, makes enough cash for taxes, etc. Economic activity that is judged against two major things. Does it reduce carbon? Three things, actually. Does it slow down dramatically the throughput of raw materials? And does it decrease inequality? If those judgments are made against future investments, future economic activities, be it public procurement, which is a very important aspect, or whatever, then you're generating jobs and work and giving people a sense of hope, but realising that helping the environment is the way that they can get their jobs and their sense of the future. And it relates to developing countries, I think, in two ways. Firstly, a lot of the countries you mentioned, suffer from the curse of resources. I mean, that's why they're wrecked externally and internally. Now, if we're living in a world where economic activity is minimising resources, then you're into a very different era. And the final thing I'll say, which is perhaps more controversial, people like Wolfgang, who know me for decades, know that I always end on this, but actually, as someone who is a protectionist, but an internationalist protectionist, the real crucial way forward is going to be to provide maximum of your needs as local as possible. Because we no longer can, or indeed should, and it was disastrous anyway, ship things all around the world. It's disgusting that many people in the rich countries tried to convince people in the poor countries that their future lies in outcompeting each other to sell to us. It was a disgusting development model, and not just governments, many NGOs followed it, to their shame. What's now going to become inevitable is that production will be local, consumption will be local, international trade will be reduced to, if we're lucky, a fair trade concept dealing in cash crops and ever decreasing numbers of minerals. So therefore, I think you've got, from your green heroin point through to starting the process, showing what can be done, for example, in Rome, because your governments will fail, not just fail, unemployment will rise, effective demand will fall, your businesses will be in trouble. There will be a political imperative to do something. And with all your expertise and knowledge, you can start proposing what that doing should be. Grazie.
Allora, solo alcune battute, forse di miglior chiarimento, delle suggestioni rispetto alla discussione e alle domande. Anch'io avevo riflettuto in passato su equo e solidale, tra virgolette, o chilometro zero. E in effetti sono due facce di un modello di sviluppo che è esattamente rallentare e la decrescita